Damn, it's so fucking 12 p.m. That's crazy. Buddha boy, bucheche. We're gonna start here in the next couple of minutes. Let everybody log in. We're gonna start right on the hour. Right on the hour. I just realized just now that unfortunately I had this scheduled for 12 and I guess the time zone differences threw me off a little bit, so I'm glad to see everybody on. I'm glad to see everybody on. Iburu boya, Iburu boya. Let's turn the camera on. Let's get ready. 2 minute countdown. 2 minute countdown. Right, all right, all right. Let's see who jumps on here. Spiritual Sunday. Let's figure this out. Let's figure this out. How's everybody doing today? Everybody's doing okay? Everybody's doing well, I hope. All right, all right, all right. Hey, Buddha boy Bucheche. Bobby, how are you? Coming all the way down from Europe, making it work. I love it. I love the fact that you're on here. That's called dedication right there. That's beautiful. All right. Let's see. We got Star. Star Seed is on. All right. Got a couple of likes already. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Let's see. Bum, bum. Here we are. Let's make sure I got my screen organized so I can see my chat. All right, all right, all right. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute till countdown. 1 minute till countdown. Ah, che, little boy, che, little boy. Star Seed, I see you. I see you. All right. So I guess without further ado, being that I look like I had this scheduled for 12 o'clock, I guess based on time zones, that was slightly off because it should have been now on the hour. We'll go ahead and begin. So, hey, first things first. Hey, Buddha boy, Abu Cheche, everybody in Cyberland. Shubert Babaláwo, at least I hope so. Oddi, Leke, coming at you, man, with another great spiritual Sunday. And nothing excites me more. Now, I see you, Tanya. Nothing excites me more than to getting with each and every one of you today. And today, I want to kind of focus on a couple of things, right? you know, for those of you who are watching afar, who are nearby, we got people tuning in from Europe, South America. We got people tuning in from everywhere. These lives humble me, right? Because at the end of the day, you know, we don't just speak good words, right? We speak living words. And that's the intent of these spiritual Sundays, right? We got to make behavior, discipline, and elevation come to life. That's living words, right? So, this is going to be a deep Sunday message, right, for 2026, right? But more importantly, I want to recognize that in January 17, in the diaspora side, we honor Osain, right? And Osain is the Orisha, the sacred herbs, the medicine, the spiritual science of things, right? And it's very traditional on his feast day. Let's say Mafarafung Osain all day in our lives, right? So today, we're going to do something strategic, right? We're going to center our reflection around Osine. We're going to use Osine to interpret what's happening in the world today, the economy, the conflict, the fear, the misinformation, the illness, right? And how do we respond like people with destiny, not like people without direction? Because 2026 is asking us to be it's not asking us to be entertained, right? It's asking us to be serious. So we need to take charge of this, and we have to kind of understand this loudly. Because right now, if we don't listen to this loudly, right, Ifa is going to be very precise. But this world we live in is loud. So we got to sometimes be a little bit louder or clear out the noise so that we can get through what the message is. So we got to look around. Let's look around us today. Right now, within many communities, there's a lot of loudness, a lot of loud noise. People are not happy, right? Some people are uncertain about things. Some people don't know where their economy is going and what the prosperity is going to look like. And that's a scary place to be, right? We see the unrising uncertainty in a lot of different things, the trade, the market, work, tariffs, retaliations. We see tensions and instability shaking people's confidence. We see global institutions warning that the economy is resilient, right? But it's slowed by certain policies, uncertainties, trade barriers, physical strain. So I'm here to give you a perspective, right, from Ifa. And if you listen to the noise, you're going to live in anxiety. If you listen to Ifa, you will live in alignment with certainty. And that's where I want you guys to be. This is the reason for the live. This is what we're going to center ourselves around today, the alignment. Ifa does not pretend the world is calm. Ifa teaches you how to remain calm inside of the storm. Hopefully that makes sense, right? How do you keep your Oddi, right? Your inner head, your destiny cool while the streets are getting hot? So today is all about Osine teaches us that the power is not only in force, the power is in knowledge, the purity, the current application. Remember, leaves do not shout, they work. And if we take those concepts of what Osine teaches us, we're going to get right down to business. And this is the reason why this is very much dedicated and centered around Osine, but to teach us and still touch on Odumifa. Osine is not a side Orisha. It's not an Orisha we just deal with from time to time. Osine represents the spiritual technology of creation inside of nature, right? It's coded intelligence inside the leaves, inside the roots, inside the bark, inside the water, the smoke, the breath, the prayer, everything. We honor Osine, right? We honor Osine. We will not live this year by rumor. We will live this year by correct understanding. We will not treat spirituality like a mood, like a fad. We're going to treat it with discipline. We will not say, I'm spiritual, and then live reckless. We will not live like people who want Ide to stay. We're going to live for people who are aligned, that are going to receive the Ide, the blessings, the fortune, the prosperity, the love, the stability, all together. Because here's the truth. Today, we find ourselves constantly in this struggle that many people look at this faith as a fad. I want to have all the collares on. I want to have, all the nice, consecrations, and I want to be fully, reinforced. And I'm not saying you cannot, but what I am saying is the timing right? Is the person right? Are you ready to receive it? Do you understand the responsibilities? Do you even know what you're receiving? Osine teaches us these things because nothing happens without Osine. Because at the end of the day, Osine, okay, Osine is the beginning of every one of those consecrations. Maybe you know this, maybe you don't. Without Osign's blessings, nothing happens. Without those purifying leaves that are going to be put into a mixture by priests, chanting ingredients, seasoned, right? In order to begin to wash the consecrated tools that are then going to be consecrated. That is the key. This is why Osai is also, corrects, illness. He corrects sickness. People want results without studying. People want power without training. People want healing without changing what made them sick. And I'm telling you, it all starts with this. Making sure we understand how do we align is the big piece. Well, Science Feast Day is a reminder. If you want the leaf to work, you have to respect the law of the leaf. Again, timing, cleanliness, taboos, prayers, instructions, lineage. You need to understand where everything is taking us. Now I'm going to say this plainly so we can understand. In our text, in the Odung Ifa, 256 Odungs instructed by the Iliriping, the witness to creation, in order to speak God's word on alignment and evolution in this world. There is a direct teaching. When the world fails to honor Osain, the world will pay for it. Because just think about it in this essence. We are told, right, in the studies of Oyekun, right, in everything Oyekun series, Oyekun Nilobe, Oyekun, Iwuri, Oddi, Irosun, Owani, etc., 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 etc. The earth and the sky did not make a bull, nor pay tribute to Osain. And because of that, misery came into the world. Right? This is not poetry, this is law. The power of the sky and the earth didn't do what they needed to do, and they found themselves in some form of misery. Obviously, every pataki comes with an analogy, with a philosophy, but what it teaches us is that no one is exempt, not even the earth itself, not even the sky. Right? When nature is disrespected, sickness increases. There's a lot of hype out there. And I tell you this because this is an easy way for you to kind of begin to remove some of the noise, right? Everybody talks about global warming. Everybody talks about the glaciers are melting. Everybody's saying the water's rising. Everybody's saying there's going to be heat waves and there's going to be cold fronts and there's going to be X, Y, and Z. And we got to take care of the earth. And it's a lot of noise. There's only so much you can do, right? And some people want to be part of the noise. And some people are going to get out there and they're going to protest and they're going to do X, Y, and Z. But let me ask you this. On this live, if I was able to touch even one of you, right? Or let's say I was able to touch 5 of you. We could do some simple math. Let's say there's 5 of you online that are listening to me. And I tell you this, don't become part of the noise. Respect nature. When you do your bosses and you have to leave them somewhere, right? Do that respectfully. Do it somewhere where it's not going to necessarily pollute the land. So don't put plastic bags, you know what I mean? Use something that's biodegradable. Leave everything in a place where it can decompose, nicely. Those are the things I'm telling you. If 5 of you were able to do that, and each of the 5 were able to teach 5 more, right? That's 25 people there. And then now those 25 people, right, are able to do that as well, right? Now we got 5 times 25. We got 125 people. Now we are talking. This is how you begin to respect, right? Again, when nature is disrespected, sickness will increase. When medicine is politicized, people die unnecessarily. When truth is replaced with narratives, communities are going to fracture. People live without moral hygiene, spiritual filth will accumulate. We got to begin to align ourselves first because that's what the Oyekun series of Oduns begin to tell us. So when we look at the world today, tension, uncertainty, conflicts in economics and politics, right? The nations, threatening each other. Ifa tells you you can't fix a chaotic world with more chaos. You have to fix it with correct order. And Osai represents that correct order through medicine. Because the beautiful thing about Osai is that he has no loyalty to anyone. He is a function of this world and its evolution that is necessary. And herbs can be both good and bad. Herbs can be poisonous, herbs can be healing, herbs can be refreshing, herbs can remove some of that nasty juju, that osorbo, that brujeria, right? So that's who Osai represents. So the letra de año came out, right? And we saw, right? We saw Ogundache, we saw Duraniku, we saw Obeweña, and we saw that Ogun and Ochun, right, were representing, the Orishas that were going to govern this year, right? And with that, we got to remember, right, that the core directive there was avoid the interpersonal conflicts. Orumila has the solutions. I am a disciple of Orumila because I'm an Awoni Orumila, right? Great shirt given to me by my godson. You know what I mean? I appreciate that. All right, looks nice. but but this is a year that's not soft. This is not a year for softness. This is the reason why I'm really doing my part to kind of make sure that I'm expressing the words. And Diaz, thank you very much for the donation. A lot of people don't know. A lot of the donations I do use to help other people who don't have, right? People who don't have money for the abort. Hey, I got you. Sponsorship, you know what I mean? A scholarship type of deal, right? Whatever that may look like. So this year, again, it's not soft. Discipline, maturity, and controlled power. Do you have that? Do you have that? Right? Ogun brings force. Ochun brings sweetness. This is not a contradiction. This is a balance. And this is the reason why we have to have these things together. Osain is the bridge between them. Because nonetheless, you know what I mean? If you don't have the balance, then you don't have the alignment set just right. Right? And we're trying to get to 100%, guys. You want to make sure that you're getting as close as you can to your alignment so that you don't have to worry about this chaos. You're just going to do right by the system, by your spirituality, by your physical world, your job, your family, your friends, your spouse, whoever that may be, your children. Little boy Abucheche, solid rock. I see you. I see you. So because you have Ogun's force without Osai's knowledge, you can become destructive. This is the reason why, and my god kids will tell you if they're on here, they'll be the first ones to click on and chat. But they'll tell you, I'm big on spiritual baths. I'm big on let's clean the house, let's clean the body, right? And obviously, I always confirm everything with Ifa, right? But you'd be surprised that some of the most easiest bosses is a simple adimu, is a cleansing with the herbs of Osain. That's what we call an omiero. Omiero comes in different senses and forms, right? And ewemesi, and efumesi, right? And ebomesi. There's a lot of different baths out there that are powered by Osain. So if you have Ochun's sweetness without Osain's precision, you become naive. Ogun's force without Osain's knowledge, you become destructive, right? And I just want to make sure that that's getting through. Well, science says that strength has to be guided by science, sweetness must be guided by truth. This is why honoring Osain, you know, for his feast day that just occurred is a perfect timing. Right? It's a perfect timing for 2026 and starting this and calibrating us after we just came out of Letra de Año and everybody should be getting their consultations for the year. How should I best maneuver my sign in Awofaka Iko Far, even as a Babaláwo, me, Oddi Leke, with now Ogundache, and then my consultation for the year, putting them together and saying, how is my year going to look? That is where you need to be. That is where your head needs to be. This is honoring with purpose. This is honoring with precision, right? And there's a pataki that comes out of Oyekun Mei, well, the Oyekun series of things, right? Um, and we're given a very powerful template through the figure of Aroni. Aroni is a healer, a servant of Osain, right? We like to call them Osainistas in the Lukumi faith. Hey, Buddha boy, Buche Tanya. Thank you very much for the donation there. Now, Ifa speaks of the healer who serves Osain. The message includes, and is very clear in this Pataki, escape danger through correct hiding, correct timing, correct obedience, right? And basically, the text, frames itself to say that Aroni, which is the servant of Osain, shows that mastery is not just knowing things. Mastery is knowing what to do, when to do it, and what not to do. A lot of people get hung up. They do a consultation and also there, right? Whether it's a dafa or a dapale with the chains, right? And they say, man, this Babaláwo laid it all out for me. But he just gave me all this tragedy. Be careful with this. You're gonna get something like this and an accident, and this is gonna happen. And everybody takes a step back and says, damn, I don't know if I like those consultations. I like to say that some of those babalaos probably are not in tune with the emotional intelligence of things, and they're not giving you the benefits of the sign and telling you if we were careful with this, all this beautiful things over here are going to occur. Right? So then we get all tensed up and then our anxiety picks up further. But understanding this is important so that when you receive a consultation, it's not just gloom and doom, right? So something to understand there. That's the reason why our sign tells what he tells us. Knowing what to do, what to do it, or when to do it, and what not to do is the key. Right. So in 2026, don't brag about what you know. Demonstrate it on how you live. Because the world is full of people who can talk. Okay. Me included. Here I am. I'm talking to you guys. Right. But destiny honors the person who can execute. Right. Planning is important, but executing is just as much. I've seen a lot of people try to plan and fail to execute because they keep going over and over and over and over again, doubting themselves. Hey, I asked E5, but man, I'm still not sure. That you're losing faith. If you go head in and you know exactly what you're doing and how you're doing it, man, it boy, come on, you will not go wrong. I promise you that. And I got tons of God kids that can lay it all out for you on their own events and their own occurrences and the things that have happened. So let's interpret the world through Ifa, right? Not through panic. Right now, a lot of global institutions are saying the global economy is holding up, but trade tensions and policy uncertainties are clouding the outlook. You go into like all the news networks, the Reuters and the CNNs and the Fox News reports, renewed market unease tied, to geopolitical pressures and the tariff and the threats and the blah, blah, blah. And this matters for our people because when money gets tight, people become impatient. My mother once told me, hey, the true nature of someone is when they have nothing and they're in a place where they need to provide. You get to see the true nature of somebody, not the nurture, the nature, right? Because when they become impatient, conflict will rise. When conflict rises, homes become unstable. The energy. So think of yourself like a giant battery that's walking. And if you don't have all your energy and you're not a fully charged battery, but now you're leaking because of anxiety and you're leaking out some of those energies, and that battery is not giving the full power to the attention to your destiny and where you're going, right? Things begin to become explosive and that battery can explode. And humans are just like that. We got a lot going on in this world. I'm not naive, but that's exactly what the letra de año emphasized, avoiding those interpersonal conflicts, leaning on Arumila for solutions. So here's the question to you. What's your spiritual posture today? Can you and are you confident to understand where you're going and how you're getting there? We don't gamble with our character because the world is unstable. Why gamble? Look for the precision, look for the stability. We don't speak recklessly because the world's already angry. So when you speak recklessly, you're only going to throw more fuel to the flames and things are not going to work out. We don't neglect our health or our hygiene because the world's already distracted and they're still trying to figure out what they're doing themselves. Heck, they're still talking about things that happened during COVID and COVID's long gone. And yes, it's still out there, but they want to still kind of come to terms with, hey, the vaccinations and it's somebody's fault or whatnot. Focus on your health, focus on your hygiene, focus on where you need to align so that you can get somewhere, not what the world is worried about. Forget what the world is so distracted with. We need to return to basics. Oddi, Oddi, discipline, prayer, a bull when required, guidance from Ifa, get your consultations, or sign again is the center point here. Clean living, clean speech, clean practice, clean intentions. That's gonna be the key. Hey, Buddha boy Abuche Viz, how are you, my friend? How are you? So now the challenge. Here's a challenge. And I'm gonna challenge everyone on here right now, including those who don't even have any da, those who don't even have equal fa or fada. Right? I'm gonna challenge everybody. If you have your ita, this week, open it up. Read it. What you know, right? What you've been avoiding. And take one concrete action. This one, this one. Ifa is not impressed by your excitement. Ifa is moved by your obedience. For those who received your ita, what was the point? Why did you receive awofaka? Why did you receive ikofa? For what? Do you even truly know what your ita was? I said open it up. Do you even have it written down? Do you have a voice recording maybe? So that you can listen to it while you're driving and you can start to align yourself. Those are the things that I tell you. That's why people say, hey, Babaláwo, I notice on your website you do Iko Fa Awofaka breakdowns. Yeah, I do. And I can tell you, I did one for a client the other day that was 71 pages. 71 pages on an ita. We have all three signs. We got the prophecy, right? And his guardian Orisha, and we went to town. Yeah, it took me 30 plus days. And it wasn't a client, it was one of my god kids. But but man, that is you truly taking, a persistent look into you. And if you don't have any thigh yet and you're waiting to receive your hand to be fa, no worries. Right? You're not waiting to start your destiny. You're waiting to receive a more precision outlook about it. But until then, you can still practice the foundations, right? You can still cool your ori, water, cascarilla, wash your head in the morning. The sun comes up, grab your head. Mafarafun olorum, mafarafun to my ori. Keep your character clean. Avoid the chaos, the gossip, the conflict. All right? Study, prepare, and live like someone who's about to be entrusted with a sacred instruction that is going to make you the king or queen of your life. Because Ifa is not crown irresponsible. Ifa is, let me give you the instructions so that you can be responsible. So everyone, this is Osign's week standard. Okay, this is his week standard right here. Here's the no kidding footnotes. Clean your body, clean your home, clean your speech. The speech you can do yourself. The understanding of Ita, you can do yourself. If you don't have it, I already gave you a couple of things to do it. Clean your body, clean your home. Try to make sure you use herb infused, right? Herb infused, prepared by a Babaláwo or an Olorisha, right? That's particularly designed for you. A lot of times comes from a consultation so that we can remove and we can bring in some greatness, right? Take your health seriously, sleep, hydrate, disciplined, food intake. The Eguns are going to dream with you all. The Eguns will be dreaming. Their spirits are going to be communicating to you this year. Are you ready to listen, interpret, and ask yourself daily? You know what I mean? Is my behavior building my destiny or am I betraying it? Because the problem is nurture versus nature. The nature of us is we were raised a certain way. We were born. The nurture is we were raised. We were born a certain way. That's nature. You may have been born by parents, from two parents, and they may not be the same parents because based on nurture, maybe you found other mentors. Maybe you found other people to help guide you and push you forward, right? If you want to conquer this world as a king or a queen and then live like royalty, not arrogance, but with responsibility. And that's what Ifa begins to talk about, right? Ifa talks a lot about where we're going and how we're getting there. And that's the message of this, Sunday spiritual session. Not only are we going to honor Osai and remember Osai's Day is January 17th in the diasporic, understand that we need Osai for everything. We understand that in the Oyekun, Oduns, the series of things there, we understand that even the earth and the sky needed to do a bo, but align with themselves with Osai because, Osai got bothered by them because they disrespected, they disregarded him. Understanding that if something so high level, right, can be bothered by Osai, then where does that leave us? Right? And that's something that we got to remember. So I want each and every one of you, while we still have some time, right? Let's jump on the chat. What do you think about everything that I'm saying? What questions can I answer for you? Where do you want to be this year? That's the question. Where do you want to go maybe this week? Maybe you don't necessarily have a clear, understanding of your ida, your awofaka, your ikofa. Let's learn together. Let's kind of figure out where is this taking us. So I am now going to take a pause and I'm going to drink my coffee. I feel like I gave you guys a good 30-minute spill here, and hopefully it was something that was insightful. All right? Let's talk it out. Let me hear it. Let me hear it. If not, I'll keep talking. I'll keep talking, boy. I got no problem talking. I got no problem talking. All right. So, I will leave you guys with this. I will leave you guys with this. And I think this is going to be a very important note to make, right? When I talked about Oyekun, because everybody loves hearing about some form of, hey, talk about the Oduns, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Oduns, right? When we talk about Oyekun Nilobe, this is the reason why I chose the Oyekun side of the house, right? Oyekun Nilobe talks about the great confusion that came into the world. And we're living that now. So Oyekun Obe. And where Olofin had to intervene, right, in order to put things in order. Right? This is why the Babaláos are told in you and Oyekun Nilobe, you have to study. Because as disciples of Orumila, you can't guide the world if you haven't guided yourself. Right? A lot of times people don't like hearing this, but how can you be a Babalao helping anybody else if you don't even have your stuff together? Right? If you don't have your house in structure, how are you moving other people? How are you mentoring? How are you coaching? Right? So you're going to love it. Right. So it's those things that I want to make sure that we're on track. Just want to say your sessions are so interesting, learning a lot. No, boy abucheche. Nah, Bob, perfect. That's the idea. Right? It's just can we trigger the thought process of alignment? Can we trigger the spirituality? And I'm not a Bible thumper. I'm not a person in the corner with a pamphlet. This is not me trying to hand you something. No. I just want to see you all be the best version of you. I want you all to be the royalty and the king and queens in your life. I want to see you walk your destiny in alignment and block out the noise. Be focused. Where am I going? Right? And you're already going to have the upper hand because unfortunately, this world is very distracted. Something to think about there. Something to think about. No, no, no. I'm glad. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. Very insightful. Thank you, Barino. No, absolutely, Tanya. I'm glad that you see it in there. But food for thought, for sure. Food for thought, for sure. And then, you know, there's tons of old dunes, and I can start to go down all the old dunes, and I can start working towards Oyekuni Woody, and I can start talking about, where the rich become poor and the poor become rich, just like that, right? And we can start to have those conversations. So that is something that's important. No, no, Taya, no, Boruboya. No, the Odun document, let me tell you, to break down your ita, man, it takes a lot of time for me, but man, what a great tool. Something that I wish when I received my Awofaka that it was available for me to receive. It's something that can really just give me a book on me. Because again, yeah, we talk about 256 Oduns, right? And a lot of people be like, oh, that's our Bible in Ifa. But it's not really a Bible. I don't like that word Bible because we don't have just one book because each person is an individual person. What fits me may not fit the next person. What fits the next person may not fit the next person after that. Right. And we have to analyze because that's the reason why you received an ida. That's the reason why you went to Orumila. That's the reason why some of you knocked on the door. Some of you said that I came to see Orumila. Some of you, received guidance, for a specific reason because your life is all different. You were all natured different. You were all nurtured different. Right. And we have to begin to see how that plays itself out. But with that said, I don't think I see anything in the chat. I'm super excited that each and every one of you, logged in. Appreciate you subscribing on here, Fobs. Appreciate you, Tanya, for this is your second month as a subscriber. That is phenomenal, or as a member. I'm sorry, not subscribers. Appreciate the donations there from Diaz and Tanya. That is awesome. So that is going to be something that we always got to remember. That's perfect. So you want to know how to honor or sign. So for a sign, when you're not initiated, a couple of things you got to remember. And non-initiates, need to learn this. Specifically, the Osainistas, the people who are consecrated into the secrets of Osai, have to know this, right? One, we're not pulling herbs, after the sun sets. We have to pull herbs when everybody's up and running, right? Imagine the sun going down and the herbs go to sleep. You're not going to disturb Osai at that point. So understanding that. The other piece of how you can honor Osai is understanding what herbs align with you. If you have your awofaka ikofa, there are herbs that align with your odum and your toyale that are very crucial for medicine for you, right? Learn them. Well, science is all about deliberate knowledge and understanding where those herbs take you. Living organically is also a big key to Osain. Osain can only help you so far, but if you're going to keep taking in all this processed food and you're going to start taking in and not taking care of your nutrition and so little things like that, you honor Osain. Osain is the woods, the herbs, the botanical gardens. That's Osain. Osain's energy lives everywhere around us. So honoring him is very simple. If you wanted to do something a little bit more formal, absolutely. This is where you take, hutia, you take grounded hutia, grounded fish, right? That's all roasted. Take some of that corn, you take some of that palm oil, you take some honey, you put everything in a brown paper bag or in some form of bag, and you go by a tree or a nice plant that's or a bush, and you put it right there at the base of the bush, right? And you put some water on it, right? Or you plant a seed, put some seeds. Specifically, you're going to put seed guinea peppers and you're going to put them in there. And you're going to honor Osain by doing something as simple as that. For those who have Osain, consult with Osai, see what he needs so that he can strengthen your endeavors when you're working those herbs and you're working those things. No different, like, I'll show you one here. This here is what's called an inche Osai, something that was prepared with the herbs of Osai, consecrated with Osai, fed with Osai, right? And this is one that was made for a child of Elewa, right? This in here is an amulet. Inside, a lot of the secrets of Osai useful for protection and, evolution, right? These are the things that we do. So that's what Osainistas do. So hopefully that helps you out. No, thanks for explaining Odum purpose. No, absolutely, Tanya. Alex, hey, thank you. I will. Many thanks. No, my pleasure. My pleasure. Again, the goal is always knowledge. The goal is always pushing us forward. So I think with that said, I think at the end, we need to just kind of give thanks to Olodumare, Olofin, Olorum, Olokun, Orumila, all the Orishas, all the spirits that walk with you, right? And again, I think at the end of the day, I think we hit the mark. I don't see any questions in the chat. Obviously, the chat is dedicated to the members for this live because it's one of the perks of being a member. So, with that said, hey, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you very much again for the donations. Thank you and many blessings on this Sunday. And if you guys ever need anything from me, you guys always have my email address, and I'll go ahead and put that in here just so you guys have it. But with that said, thank you very much for everything. And Iburu, Iboya, Ibuche, everybody from Cyberland. Spirit Babaláwo, at least I hope so. One more doing Oddi Leke coming at you. Iburu Boya. Hey, much love to you, Alex. Much love.